Meow.
Good Cat Max.
I know,
Max
right?
very good.
I know, right?
So what the heck are we talking about this episode?
You say you were playing video games earlier.
Yeah, I was.
Why do you play video games?
For me to de-stress.
Really?
Yeah.
That's it?
I also play it because I enjoy the game itself.
Why do you have to? What about the game appeals to you?
The specific game, Scribble.io, is basically a meme game between me and my friends, or my friends and I in proper English.
What do you do?
There's a prompt.
Yeah.
We have to draw said prompt. People have to guess. They allow custom words. We're 10th graders with a pretty dirty mind. You can extrapolate from there.
Sure.
Yep.
You know.
I also want to learn how to make that game.
You know, back in 1970s when Atari's Pong came out.
Yeah.
It was like a huge hit, and everyone was like, "Oh my god!" But it's 8-bit pixels, and it was so pixelated. And now,
it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense back then, because back then, like the Atari's Atari 2600 system, for instance, it wasn't like.
Arcade machines designed to run that thing were giant. You can run that on the phone. Yeah. Like 100th that size.
And like you know those circuit boards on the entire circuit arcade machines, they're so huge.
Because like transistors then giant, transistors now nothing. Like so small you have to have a microscope.
Yeah, so it really goes to show that back then when transistors were so huge, games were dependent on the fact that you need to
have a giant box.
Yeah. But as time progresses and as our technology gets smaller and smaller,
1980s, 1990s, golden era of video games.
Like you know ENIAC, the first ever computer?
Oh yeah.
That thing was took up 8 huge rooms.
It was basically one living room worth.
Basically.
Worth basically not even 2 gigs of RAM.
And now we have a computer that's literally recording right in front of us. This tiny, 4-inch abomination.
It's called iPhone Max.
Yeah, I know. I still call it abomination because it's an abomination.
I do prefer Android due to the fact that it's more modular than an iOS device. But hey, I work with iCloud.
I guess.
Yeah, I guess too. Speaking of computers, we have nothing new related to computer tech from what I remember besides everyone wanting to go buy a GTX.
GTX?
Or what was it? NVIDIA released an RTX something.
Do we really need this high level of processing? Because GTX without AD is already kind of insane.
Yeah.
It's beyond server racks. Does the actual individual need it?
Probably not, unless you're a person who requires that much space
or that much processing power.
Yeah. If you're editing say you're Disney, you're gonna want that because of of rendering and editing purposes.
Yeah, but the fact that how modern games nowadays they take up you require so many different gigs, for instance, and also you need these really strong processing visual graphics card and stuff.
Yeah, there's definitely still games that you can run on a crappy MacBook like I have.
But it's the technology has grown so much since
you can look at you can look at around roughly Halo 3 came out. No, Halo 2 came out 2005.
Yeah.
You go to now where you see the trailer of Halo Infinity, that is almost realistic. That's how far graphics have gone in 13 years.
Wait, how was the first Halo?
Halo was on a PC.
The trailer release
I don't remember the trailer release. It was just that people. Then again, it was a shooter. It was a space shooter, but then the story was where people got smacked by. Yeah. The critics praised the story, not the gameplay. And the gameplay was still very nice, but
What about the recent Halo? Is it the opposite way?
Halo 5?
The recent one?
With Halo being a mostly story-based game, there's definitely multiplayer elements to it, but then again, it's Halo. We're fighting aliens and other people. Halo has spawned a giant genre of Halo style video games, like Destiny and any space, Dead Space, for example. Except instead of being a shooter, it's a horror game where you get dragged by a doom tentacle.
Okay.
Hey, get video games.
Hey, video games. But it's oh man, we've just come so far,
I know. You can look at the Virtual Boy, that headache-inducing Nintendo quote-unquote virtual reality thing. Go back to 2010 Oculus Rift.
And that just feels so realistic.
That's like 2 decades ago, like 2 to 3 decades ago when that thing, like almost 3 decades ago, because like what 1990, roughly.
But you know what I'm so excited by? Like 20, 30 years from now, people then will be telling at us right now that our technology sucks, and they'll be like,
we're gonna be the old people in the future.
Exactly.
We're gonna be, oh, well done, kids. They're without their newfangled Afro 20s.
No, but it's like you should. I think we should also be excited about what's going to happen in the future, because it's like if now
fully
we have
integrated
VR, such good VR already to begin with.
I mean, the only thing we have to fix is make sure people don't throw up. Motion sickness.
That's gonna be fixed.
That's gonna be fixed really easily. Because like, have you seen like that tech where it's like it's basically one giant like circle treadmill where people can just walk? I mean, the only thing that's like stopping you from falling is the guardrail.
Oh yeah, it automatically moves based on your actions, right?
I mean, if we can get that, if companies can commercialize that into not like over $1,000, I mean, already with VR you have to have a pretty heavy like PC, but then like with the Oculus, like with Facebook also helping with paying for development costs, like the new Oculus is just the headset itself. And I think you have to still have a computer run games, but there doesn't have to be like a several $1,000 beast of a PC to run them.
I see. So, what aspects of the game have improved since the start? Like the visuals have definitely improved. The processing power definitely improved. I think everything improved.
Video game. Like, I mean, I think the only thing that hasn't improved is nostalgia, because that's impossible to improve.
Nostalgia is impossible to overcome.
Exactly.
Honestly. But then it's like just the fact that every single thing you need to consider so many things in game production. It's like you need to consider the visuals, you need to consider like the game itself. You need to
consider gameplay. You need to consider game mechanics. How like a player is going to interact with those mechanics, and like probably one of the biggest probably retro style games recently, like Undertale, right?
Yeah.
That simple graphics, crazy story, and also like a lot of hidden game mechanics that people at first didn't understand, but then they affect the gameplay like so like largely, like a proper term.
So I think it's like how technology growth also spurs growth in other fields that work on it. Just
I mean,
video games.
Look at I mean, like I've read several articles like I think 1 or 2 years ago where hospitals are now looking for like doctors who have played video games before because of like how their new like robot surgeons could go do.
Also, isn't it also because like if you play video games, then your hand coordination gets better, and then that helps with the actual process itself.
Especially if you're like a really good like controller on the controller competitive player, because everyone knows, despite the fact that PC is master race, controls are a lot easier to use.
Of course.
I mean, unless you're switching from Xbox to PS4 and then you have to remember X is not triangle, B is not square, Y is not.
But that's just cognitive processes where you just automatically map this button to this action.
That button.
But it's like, wow. Back when Pong was released, I don't think anyone was expecting this kind of.
All it is up down.
Yeah.
Then you get like Donkey Kong where it's like up and down and probably A and B. Like that's really it.
Like even in 1980s when Super Mario Bros. Came out, it's like it's only like 4 directions: jump, actually 3 directions: up, left.
I mean, there's still a down arrow, but then like
that was never used.
That was used for Zelda.
Yeah, that was used for Zelda.
Unlike some other game.
Platformer. No, not platformer. 2D top down.
Yep, top down RPG adventure game.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
You're a kid given a sword by an old man told to kill the little demon king. Yeah, and that spawned the giant thing known as JRPGs.
Also, there's there's the meme known as the trifecta, and there's like don't go alone, take this.
Yep.
And it goes to show that, you know how like the Zelda game itself, like compared to games now, it's like probably really crappy.
Yeah.
Despite this, it's so nostalgic to a lot of people. And now we're playing a lot of video games that will be nostalgic about in the future, but in the future there'll be even better games. Despite that, we'll still return to this era. I think in a way, technology in that way is kind of like a circle in itself. Like you constantly return to old stuff. Even
people want to take the things they knew in their childhood and make them better. Make them better so that people who have seen their product will go on to make that idea better, and that like goes forward.
But wouldn't that destroy the nostalgia? Because now it's like it's no longer the same.
Nostalgia can be. I mean, like you have games like the original Spyro. That's being remastered. The spirit of the game is there. Just everything has been updated to this current level of hardware. and software and whatever.
Sure.
But then you also have games done in the spirit of things. Like, you have a bunch of games now that are emulating the style and gameplay of, like, Super Mario Bros., Zelda, Metroid. Like, heck, there's, like, total subgenre of games called Metroidvanias.
Of course.
With probably Metroid and Castlevania together, but that, like, style of that was so unique during the time. But, hey, really nice, we should have more games like this.
So once an innovative new concept comes out, a lot of games start using the concept for its own.
Unless
games.
it's like super niche, like Super Hot, right?
Yeah, Super Hot.
Yeah, Super Hot's like one of those like they're weird but they're fun. Where it's like basically the premise of the game is time moves when you move.
That's a very innovative concept.
I mean, there's definitely games where there's time stop mechanics, but that's when your character moves. Normally, everything else is frozen or very slow. That you cause time to move,
and that's a slight modification on an already existing rule set, but that makes the game that
makes the game that much more entertaining. Very
exactly.
True. And then you have Minecraft, like basically
open world
Lego video game, except survival and giant moss exploding.
You get to build stuff. You get to explore this open world around you,
and open world like sandbox games definitely existed. But then it's like that. It's how Minecraft was. It was just this simple game with basically no instructions other than, hey, hit this button to move, hit this button to look, to open your inventory.
But from this small rule set, it could evolve into such a large possibility that's still being updated to this very day.
It is. I mean, yeah, they got bought by Microsoft, and some people got ticked off over it when they did.
Whatever.
But hey, we don't have irregular updates. We don't have like a long time between certain things that we want. I mean, yeah, it's true, but like, hey, it depends. We're now having consistent and full of new resources and like stuff, new content every single update.
Exactly, and I think that a lot of things in technology is always like something new idea concepts come out, and then like a lot of people copy that concept in their own things.
Yeah.
Like,
you can take any way that people relieve stress, books, games, art, music, and you can go back 100 years, and then from there see how everything changed. You can see how how composers added new instruments that has been developed, like the synth and the thing that everyone uses that I'm forgetting the name of.
Despite this electronic music burst, there's still people that are producing traditional music. So
we still have classical composers composing music.
But it's just they're getting less and less as the new things
attention
take over slowly and slowly.
I mean, there's definitely people like remixes are now getting like super popular.
Of course, because it's easy to just get the source data file and just be like, here's some edits. Done.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, there's still bad edits.
Hey, don't diss everyone.
I'm not dissing everyone. I'm just saying that there are edits that are not as good as people hope for them to be.
Fair enough.
Remixes, like edits of music definitely existed, but like when you had music that had to be played live, it's impossible. It's really difficult to remix that.
Fair enough.
Because like, if you didn't know music well enough, you'd assume, oh hey, this is original music, not a rehash of what someone else has already written. But like now with like good sound, like MIDI, editing music technology things, we got things like what you've shown me and Jane before, like that sound of terror that is Gangnam Style, super edited to form different songs.
We don't talk about that.
Also, like now, like back then, there were definitely parody music.
Yeah,
definitely. But like now, with the advent of social media and the internet, we now have
a lot more popular.
We now have things to parody.
Exactly.
We now have things from cross cultures that we can parody instead of being limited to one area.
So in a way, these differences and the new ideas and technology is actually influenced by our culture, by our
advancements.
Exactly. And what other advancements directly influence too. So which is a pretty interesting concept, I have to admit.
Yep. I also forgot haptic feedback on VR controls.
Oh yeah.
We can touch things that don't actually exist.
In the future, we'll be able to quantum tunnel ourselves to anywhere and become.
We can also headhunt other people. We can feel the blood pulling on our fingers. Actually, it's probably not going to be that realistic. It's also going to be really, really hard to actually generate data for that.
Come on. Also, come on.
Yeah.
But you need to realize senses are actually just neuron electrical signals, so theoretically, you should be able to override this.
I mean, also,
theoretically.
if we have a way to jack in the brain into a server,
then you could theoretically
a la
make the person
SAO.
control anything.
Exactly. We can have games like SAO, except, not written by a terrible, terrible person.
But by you.
But by you, the person listening to this. Or maybe your friend, your sister, your child, your husband, your whatever.
Exactly.
I mean, everyone's related.
So the possibilities are actually just endless, and this is just a hidden aspect of what we could do in the future.
One day, we'll all be jacked into the servers, and everyone will forget the real world as it's all clouds and smogs above us.
Fun.
Praise be Stalin.
Praise be. No. We don't talk about communism here.
We're not talking about communism. Fine. What about capitalism?
All hail Ronald Reagan.
Reagan sucked as a president.
I know. I don't care.
Reagan sucked as a president. I mean, my opinion. Reagan sucked as a president.
He wasn't that great, but I mean...
He wasn't that bad, though.
He wasn't that bad either.
Lyndon B. Johnson.
Sure.
You were a failure for president.
Whoa, stop dissing people like that.
Actually, no. Not a failure. Trump is the failure.
Hey,
Obama did good.
Hey,
Obama did very good. Hey, 4 more minutes, dang it. 4 more minutes. We're bringing this up to 20 minutes. Gotta be even.
You need to realize very, very soon people will start storming out of the room and it'll be very, very loud.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's just get this to 17.
Well, in that scenario, I want to let you know one thing.
What?
Nobody expects a Spanish Inquisition.
Oh my god, you're right! I am an idiot.
Of course you're an idiot.
I mean, we're all idiots.
Technically, we're all geniuses, all idiots because of the definition.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can be an idiot in something, but you're genius something else, so naturally.
Hey, Max.
Yeah?
Do you think we're too early for aliens to exist? We're too early in the general time lifespan.
There's a paradox that says that
Fermi's
theoretically,
Fermi's paradox. Yeah.
That if aliens did exist, then we could have already contacted them.
Mm-hmm. But what if we're alone at this very moment in time?
It should be exciting.
No other life exists besides bacteria.
It should be exciting because
we are the only sentient life here, like sapient life, should I add here, because we're just too early.
Exactly. That's exciting too.
What would happen? Like, it's going to take billions of years for life to evolve on other planets.
It might not even evolve.
And even if for this absolutely crazy possibility that the universe in one half is exactly the same as the universe, and the other half that there's a mirror version of Earth somewhere else,
then there's a mirror version of you, me, this person watching this, everyone.
Maybe there's another universe composed of only antimatter.
That's a theory.
Where every single proportion here is the exact opposite there.
But I mean,
hydrogen is anti-hydrogen. Whatever.
Maybe they're the aliens we're looking for.
Maybe you are the aliens we are looking for.
Maybe we are the aliens that we are looking for.
Yeah, we're all aliens here. We'll see you next week, hopefully.
Ever heard of the multiverse theory?
Oh, yeah.
Technically speaking, there is
an infinite amount of us
in the universe.
Mm-hmm. Well,
but not this universe.
Yeah,
that's 4th dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
If it make it to 5th dimensional, where you have multiple verses, then
I am canceling this, or I slap you.
Then and in the 6th dimension, there's basically the past, future, current, all possibilities.
People are going. We should probably end this.
Okay.
We'll see you next week if we can.
Yeah.
I'm trying to sort everything together. Bye bye.
You were suffering enough already.
See ya.